Morning, everybody. I was just in my downstairs bathroom going pee, relieving myself before I chit chat here. And as I sat down on the toilet, the door to where I keep towels and toilet paper and all that stuff, it was cracked open, like somebody had gotten in there and gotten something out of the closet and then did not close the closet door all the way. And I found myself frustrated in that half a second because it seems like every single time I walk into that particular restroom, one of the doors, that's not the primary door, is cracked open. It's not shut, it's not open, it's cracked open. It's cracked open. So I went ahead and, much like every other time that I'm in there and one of the doors is cracked open and just resting, I went ahead and I closed the door. I felt this irritation inside myself. Why can't somebody just close the door all the way? Like if you're getting something out of there, why can't you just close the damn door? And then of course I went, well, along with the topic that I feel compelled to chit chat about this morning, which is compassion for our need to be turned on. See, how does right before doing conscious coffee and having a door that is cracked open have anything to do with compassion for our need to be turned on? How do those two even, align at all, right? Well, it's pretty simple. Here's what we do as human beings. We move through our lives and we start out and we're playful and we're, expressive and we're in embodiment with ourself. We can feel life move through us, the emotion of life, the feeling of life, sensation. Like a child can say, oh, I'm hurting, I'm excited, I feel so tickly, I feel so many butterflies. Children are beautiful, creative expressions. And they are also creative in their minds. They're so imaginative, right? Like they can just transport themselves someplace and it's just magical to watch them do this. And at the same time, as adults, we go, well, that's because they're children. So they're so creative. They're so imaginative. It's so innocent. So innocent. And then we grow up. And as we grow up, to just close ourselves to the playfulness, we close ourselves to the excitement, we close ourselves to imagination, to creative energy, we close life moving through us. It still moves through us, but it doesn't move through us in a very clean flow. It gets a lot of bogged down and heavier and stuck within us. Really focus in on different things that we don't want to have happen, or the things that have happened that we weren't comfortable with, that we didn't enjoy, and we feel lost in the things that we did enjoy and why they're still not with us, and how we lost them, the sacrifice of not having that pleasure, that joy with us forever. And we go, well, that's life, right? You have to just grow up sometimes. You have to just grow up and you have to understand that that's just, like, you don't get to have all that joy and bliss and yumminess all the time. You don't always get to be playful. You're not always going to have vitality and all this creative energy. Like, a lot of life is just doing this. Survival. A lot of life is just about survival. That's how a lot of people live. And then they wonder, why am I not happy? Why can I not find the person of my dream? Why are my finances not doing what I want them to do? Why do I not feel good in my own skin? Why am I not happy with my job? Why am I not And it's because we survival land. We get stuck in survival land. And we have this irritation around survival land, don't we? But at the same time, a comfort with survival land. Because survival land is comfortable. Once we get in there, once we get settled, once we find that comfort. And what we're doing is we are living our lives with the door not even even cracked open. It's mostly shut, but maybe it's just a little hair cracked open, just pulled open just a little bit, much like my linen closet door this morning. It was 3/4 of the way shut. 3/4 of the way shut. Well, we're not a linen closet. We don't want to shut the door and keep everything contained. We're the direct opposite. We want to open the door. But we have to have compassion around the opening of our doors to our desires, to our purpose, to our creative energy, to playfulness, to our sex, orgasm, to, just opening up our hearts to connection. Because we can't have any of it if we're not willing to embody ourselves. Last night I was talking to a beautiful client of mine who recently found out that her sister has stage 4 cancer. And the lesson that was revealed was to be able to sit with life, to be able to sit with it, not to avoid it, not to hate on it, not to say, oh, I love this moment. I'm not in love with this moment. I'm in discomfort. I'm in anger. Sadness. The embodiment process is to own exactly where you're at in any given moment and to be able to sit with it with the understanding that some things we cannot change. Most things we are not our business. They're happening outside of us. They're happening outside of us. So to other people, they're other people's decisions. They're God's decisions that we can do about it. But what we can do is we can sit with it. We can embody the feeling. We can really truly still live the expression of life that is moving through us in that moment, which might be, I'm really angry. I'm really sad. I'm really turned on. I'm really excited. Now I know that this might not sound like a very turned on conversation because I'm not talking about orgasm. I'm not talking about climax. I'm not talking about making somebody come or this position or that position and flirting and dating and all these techniques that you can do. But if you really truly want turn on in your life and everything that turn on is about, then the road to compassion about needing turn on is also the embracing of here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at. Here's where I'm at in any given moment, because turn on is not just a high point. Turn on is a low point. Turn on is also the I'm just existing right this very second. And of course, turn on is this mind-blowing, edgy, fun, playful space. But turn on can happen all through life in any given moment. You can be turned on in the saddest of moments. You can be turned on in the toughest of times. You can be turned on when you are really pissed off and angry. You can be turned on in a state of peace and harmony where you're just, I just feel really good. Because turn on, as we like to focus in on it, we think of it in orgasmic sense. Oh, she's turned on, he's turned on. You need to turn me on. Why aren't you doing this to turn me on? But what it really truly is embodiment and being able to feel the expression of life, whatever that means, as it moves through us, right? But what do we do? Much like the bathroom door, coming back to the closet in my bathroom just moments ago. With it just and our emotion, our expression, our turn on, it's got to work its way through this tight space because we're not acknowledging it. We're not owning it. We're not allowing ourselves to open up to it. And we're not fully closing ourselves off because there's still a desire. And if you have any desire at all for things being different than what they are, then your door's not all the way shut. Okay? I want something different. I want something more. I wish I could feel more. I wish I could connect more. I wish I could. I wish I could. I wish I could. If there's that, shut. But it is sitting there, cracked, barely. Maybe it's cracked a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit more ability for things to move through. And that ability for that turn on to move through, much like my irritation in the door, we experience an irritation and it comes out finger pointing, with blame, with straight up irritation, frustration in our partners, frustration in our finances, frustration with our work, with our children, frustration with our physical bodies, frustration with life, because that we're not the one thing that we can is to either have our door open or cracked or shut. We are actually in control of that. It's not an outside thing. I was speaking with a friend yesterday on this very topic, and the opening up process and what shuts us down and how we disembody ourselves, how we get that door to just be cracked instead of open. And I was like, what's the constrictions around this? Well, we don't have the compassion for ourselves to trust that we are worth having space held for us if we're turned on. If we're turned on, well, that's kind of scary. That's kind of edgy. What does that look like? What does that mean? What am I going to do? Who am I going to be? What am I going to say? How am I going to act? Who will I attract into my life? What will happen to my relationships if I'm all of a sudden this turned on person? Experienced, or maybe in the past I had little flash in the pans of turn on where all of a sudden there was a sizzle and I overreacted to it. I got so excited that I made a hasty decision, and then that hasty decision hurt afterwards because I didn't know what to do with my turn on because it was all bundled up and it just popped like a champagne bottle and everything went. And here's the thing. That's the initial response to our turn on. If we fling that door wide open, we've been so compressed for all this time, there's all this built up tension of turn on, of desire, of passion, of longing, a hunger inside. And so what does it do? It comes out with fury. It's like, yes, here I am. Here I am. Here you are. But how do you do that? How do you access the turn on without basically blowing your whole wad and making some mistakes? You get right. You get very, very right with sitting in the feeling. Much like the sweet woman that just discovered about her sister's cancer, right? She has to sit in this feeling. There's nothing she can do. She has to sit with it. She has to learn how to hold it. She has to experience her humanness to be sitting in this grief, in this agony, in this pain. And guess what? If we open up that door to our turn on, then we have to have compassion. We have to have compassion for also sitting with the bubbles. We have to have compassion for sitting with this new expression of self. We have to have compassion for some of the actions that we might do, for the binge eating that we might have in that moment, for the, ooh, this tastes good, or oh, that looks like fun, or maybe I will just take today off and call in sick because I'm turned on and I'd rather do something other than that keeps my door just cracked. I'd rather have a conversation over here instead of spend time over there. I'd rather go and take care of my physical body. I'd rather go take care of my emotional, my spiritual, my mental body instead of consistently keeping myself locked in. And why do we keep ourselves locked in? The thing that holds us, again, is it's the perception, right? It's the perception of what we fear our turn on is going to look like, who we are going to be. And we are not afraid of necessarily us, but of what others will perceive us to be. What will be the reactions of those in our life? because we're convinced that we're going to lose if we fully stand in who we are. And in some instances, reality fact is, in some instances, we do lose. We do. But if we lose, what is that saying? That we were never accepted fully as ourselves. Now that might be just a harsh thing. You might go, well, if I'm not going to be accepted as who I am, I don't want to give up what I have. I love everybody in my life. I love certain things in my life. I'm not willing to sacrifice these things in my life to truly authentically be me. So you'd rather sit with your door cracked and with all this energy just piling up inside of you, and with yourself not being truly authentically you. So you're never going to actually access happiness, joy, that depth of connection, real true intimacy. You're never going to be able to surrender into the thralls of your orgasm, whether that is in your bedroom or in your life or in your finances, because you're fearful that if you are you, you're going to lose this over here. Those in our life who love us, those in our life who want the best for us, will receive us no matter how we show up. Some relationships will change. Actually, all relationship changes as we access new points of ourselves, as we fully unveil ourselves, and we go through different transformations and transitions. Relationship changes. The relationship with self changes. The relationship with divine changes. The relationship with our sex changes. The relationship with our finances changes. And the relationship with our children, our siblings, our parents, our friends, our partners, our lovers, our work environment, all of it changes. It has to change because we are changing, because we are expanding ourselves. That vessel that we are has now cracked the container that it was in. Yesterday was a very interesting day. I had lots and lots of conversations and lots of eye-opening conversations. I was speaking with a gentleman, sweet, sweet man, on this very topic as well. And I told him, because he was going through some expansion work, and I told him, I said, it's kind of like if you've ever seen dough rise. Like if you're making bread and you've ever watched bread rise, you have a ball of dough, and it starts out compact and pretty firm, and you place it in the middle of a bowl that is 3 or 4 times the size of the dough. And this is the container for the dough. And as the dough starts to rise, starts to expand, really truly experience itself and grow, it starts to fill up the whole bowl, right? And as we move through this bread making process, what happens is, the baker will come along and it will punch the dough and knead it and put it back down into a smaller size, tighten it up, okay, close off some of its growth so that it can then expand again some more. Expand. This process goes over and over and over again. And sometimes that dough starts to just, move over the edge of the bowl and will actually start to just run over and, be too much for this container. What happens now, dough is not strong enough to break the actual container. It will expand and just pour itself over, much like water is not going to break the container. It's just going to pour over the container, right? But sometimes what happens, and for us as individuals, spiritually speaking, our vessel, our container that holds our dough, our essence, and as we grow and expand, what we do is we don't just overflow. I mean, you could look at it as overflowing, but it's more of a shattering process. And anybody who moves through transformation and growth would say, I feel shattered. I feel shattered. There's these points where I feel shattered. And that's what you're doing. You're expanding your truth out. Your soul is expanding out because your soul is humongous. It's absolutely humongous. It's breathtaking in size. And we contain it down to this, and we try to harbor it into such a small container. But then it pushes because it gets frustrated with this containment. It's not able to be. It's not able to be all that it can be. Therefore, it can't access its true path. It can't really truly embody this existence. And so it shatters the container. And much like glass shattering, there's like all this movement, right? But then it just goes out and it's like, there's a fear of the shatter. And then there is a relief in the shatter. And then we grow and we edge out. And then we find what? Yet another container, something that is bigger. But it's, at first, wow, we have no edges. There's a fear in not having edges. There's a hesitancy in not having edges. And then we start to push up on our edges and our new container. And we go, oh, there's the edges. Oh yeah, that feels, okay, now I know where I'm at. Okay. We push against that and we go, yeah, that feels good. And we get comfortable in our new container. And we carry on for as long as we carry on in this comfort. But then inevitably we end up pushing against that. And we repeat the process of shattering our new container and finding our new edges, and then shattering our new container and finding our new edges. But our humanness, which is really truly brought on a lot by our ego, has us in a state of irritation at this process of that there is something wrong with shattering containers and with having to find your footing again and feeling the relief and then finding yet another container. We're irritated at that. But that's what turn on is. Turn on is that exact process, that turned on state. When we access it, when we really start to push into it, this is how we start to shatter the containers. Because when we access some of that turn on, we get a hunger for more turn on, which forces us to press against the edges of our container even more and even more until the container shatters. And then we find a new space that's a little scary because we don't know how we're going to be seen, how we're going to be held in this space. We don't know if we're going to be held in this space because we can't feel the container until we do again. Today, I ask you to look into your life and see where you're at on this. You know, where are you? Are you pressing? Do you feel like you're pressing up against the edge of that container? Do you feel like your container is shattering? Did you just recently shatter your container? Like, where are you in your growth, in your processing? How much compassion are you bringing to your growth process? Can you see the beauty in a state of turn on? Because in that state of turn on, I mean, turn on is creative energy. Do you feel passionate, turned on, creative, adventurous, playful in your life? Or does that scare the shit out of you? You're like, no, maybe I just want to shut the door. Maybe I'm just going to shut the door because I'm scared that I'm going to lose everything that I have. And they ask you to really truly look at this everything that you have and go, is this everything that I have all that I want it to be? Do I believe that I am just worth this, or am I worth more? Can I have faith that the people and the situations, environment in my life that is positive and good, that I'm enjoying, that I really feel in alignment to, that they and it might just still hold true and love me through the shattering of my container? And who am I living this life for? Who am I living this life for? That's a really, really good question to ask yourself. Who do I live for? Are you living your life for those that are helping you hold that container? Are you living your life for the soul that is inside the container? I ask you to just think on that. Just feel into that. And of course, if I've said anything in here that made you think of somebody, made you in any way go, at all, or aha, hit the share button. Help me share this conscious coffee. For all of you that are following me and everything, if you would like to catch me later, we are actually going to be talking about compassion and grit. I believe it's called Grit and Compassion for during the process, during the journey of finding ourselves. And I'm going to be on the Union show, and that is the topic. It's just really, you know, like, what is grit? Like, grit is like getting down and earthy and having focus and determination, right? And just like gritting your teeth and like really making it happen. Like, you got to want it. You've got to want to tap into yourself. You've got to want to honor yourself. You've got to want to love yourself. You've got to want to be more of you, and know that it's going to require you pushing that container and shattering it and breaking it. It's also going to require you to have compassion for the edge, compassion for the fear, compassion for the fact that you can't control other people and environment outside of yourself, that this is all you can do, but that it is such a worthy journey. And when we are on that journey of really living our authentic selves, that's what it requires, grits and compassion. I'm going to be on the Union Talk Show today at noon Central Standard Time. Link is in the comment section to that. I have some beautiful, beautiful people that I will be speaking with on there. I'm honored. This is my second or third time on the Union show. Through the course of time, it's been like 2 years since I was on there. And yeah, so it should be a very, very good conversation. If you are focused on your self-growth, on your healing for this year, this is definitely a great, great opportunity for you to listen into a few different viewpoints, listen into our stories, our challenges, and how we've overcome and really moved into this state of accessing our truth step by step, and what that shattering process is really like. For all of you local people out there who are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or if you can get your butts to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Addison Bell and I are teaching our fourth annual Tantra Reboot VIP Day in a couple of weeks, or next week. I believe it's next week, actually. I don't know the exact date. I have too many things going on. My schedule is freaking crazy. Anyways, click on the link in the comment section for the Tantra Reboot. If you are a local person in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or are interested in accessing this and can get your butt here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we're going to be talking about mind, body, soul connection. This is, once again, you know, like I was just talking about, shattering that container, right? And accessing your truth and your true self. And what does that really look like? This class, actually, this is what core fundamental Tantra is about. It is about the embodiment of who you are, really truly accessing and tapping into that, and learning the container that you're in and how to shatter it with the least of the ramifications that you possibly can. Like, how do you move through this? Well, it's much like I shared about this beautiful soul who just found out about her sister having cancer. She's got to push up against this edge. She's got to breathe into the moment of life. You got to access her humanness, the thing that we are closing out when we crack that door. What we are doing is we're not letting our humanness in. We're not letting our truth in. We're not accessing who we are. We're shutting not only the world out, our joy out, our bliss out, but we are closing ourselves off from ourselves in those moments. We are not accessing our full human potential, our full spiritual, emotional, mental potential by keeping that door cracked or closing it. This class that Addison and I will be teaching later on in the month, that you can access in the comment section, will be a class that teaches you how to step in, lean into that edge of you, and giving you some tools as to how to move through the year, through your life, with a beautiful tantric flair on accessing the connection between mind, body, and soul. Of course, if you have any questions on any of that, please let me know. If there is anything that I can answer for you on any event or topic, again, share it in the comment section. Ask me, private message, what have you. I am accessible to you. I look forward to catching you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. And as always, remember, stop existing, start living. You are worthy of shattering that vessel and really truly accessing the true you. I love you guys. Catch you tomorrow.